Don't you just love sunflowers? They are the happiest flowers. And it's time for me to do my seedlings in the greenhouse. So I got my seed packets out and I thought I would also do a sunflower mandala on a rock. So I'm going to show you how to do this today. I'm going to use these new tools that I got from Ginger at Traveling Kindness Rocks. It's a set of 7 wooden dowels and I'll show you how to use them. First, I need to get a rock ready though. So I traced a jar and painted it black, and it's about 2 1/4 inches across. I let that dry, and I'm going to get my colors ready. I'm going to use a craft acrylic and then also a golden fluid acrylic. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this for each color. The craft acrylics are usually pretty thick. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to put the Martha Stewart yellow in the palette here and show you it's pretty thick like toothpaste, and that's too thick to use. And the golden fluids are a little bit too runny, almost like an egg yolk. So what I'm going to do is combine the two, and I'm going to do this for each color that I'm using today. This will give me the right color density and the right thickness. I'm going to cover those up with a damp paper towel because the acrylic paints like to form a skin when they're exposed to air for too long. Now, to find the center of this circle is pretty important, so I'm going to use a piece of paper and fold it in half and then mark that center dot with a pencil, and then I will know exactly where to put that first dot. Grab one of the tools and my white paint and get started on painting. I'm going to form a clock face around this center dot using my small manicure. I ended up getting my smallest tool because I wanted it to be pretty tiny. So I'm going to do 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. You can see how that's spaced on there. And then we're going to go back and fill in the rest of the hours around that clock face. Just be careful in your spacing. Try and imagine that in your mind as you're making this first row. Go ahead and fill in the rest of those hours around the clock face. Now I'm moving up a size, and this is the smallest tool from the set, and I'm going to make a clock face again. Only this time, when I go back to fill in the other hours, I'm just going to do 1 dot instead of 2. Now I'm going to my small manicure stylus again with the green. Just going to do a tiny dot in between each of those white dots. Now using the embossing tool from the tool set, and I'm going to put a green dot right beside the smaller green one. Now I'm going back to the small manicure stylus for a very small pink dot. This will be snug right in there next to the white dot. And then we're going to move up to the smallest wooden dowel with this very beautiful deep purplish red. Now I'm going to move up 2 sizes with the orange. You can see that I've worked my way out to the edge of the black circle now. And that orange is about half in, half off of the black circle. Now I'm going to start walking the dots around each of these larger orange dots. I'm going to use my yellow paint. You can see the paint is thick enough that it's not running down the sides of the rock. This is a nice smooth piece of mudstone, so when I paint right on the bare rock, it stays in place and it still leaves a nice clear dot. It doesn't fray at the edges like you will get with a rougher piece of stone. I'm going to finish off this first row of yellow all the way around. Give that a shot with the blow dryer. Because I'm going to be doing a second row of walking the dots, I like to dry it with the blow dryer just to make sure that they don't end up moving towards each other. The smaller dots like to do that for some reason, and I don't want them touching, so I'm just going to give this one a quick shot to dry it off before I do the second row. In the second row I'm going to do in orange, but I want to make it a little bit lighter orange, so I'm adding some white. I know that this rock, when I'm painting on the bare stone, will get darker when I do the acrylic finish at the end, which will make it look wet. So I'm making a little bit lighter shade of orange on the bare stone to make it show up on the darker rock once it's finished at the end. And I'm using the embossing tool from the tool set, and it's a little bit too big to finish off that row. I want to leave some space in between each of these petals, so I'm only going up about halfway. And then I'm going to finish off those rows with my small manicure stylus, because it's small enough to really get in there with some tiny dots, and it will leave space in between each of the petals, which is the effect I'm going for. There. Now I'm going back with the embossing tool and using my yellow, and I'm really loading up the paint on this. I want to leave a nice bump on there when it's dry, give it some depth. And then I'm going to move up a size to the smallest wooden dowel with the same yellow paint, and I'm going to go all the way around again. And you'll notice the paint is staying in place. It's not running down the sides of the rock, so it's the right thickness. And then I've moved up another size in the wooden dowels and getting way off on the edges of the sides of the rock, so it looks like it's wrapping a piece of sunshine all the way around the rock. Now I'm going back with my manicure tool and using small dots, one on either side of the yellow row, and then one dot at the top. And this is starting to leave a black star-like figure in the middle of the rock. See how that empty space has formed into a star? And now I'm using the white tool just to make a white dot for the final orange row, and that just helps to bring your eye downward over the sides of the rock. Now I've let all of that dry, and I'm going back and putting on my top dots. First, a little bit of the pink on top of the more vibrant purple. And then I'm going to go back and do a tiny pink dot on that first white row. And then a pale orange on top of the more vibrant orange. Again, really loading it with paint so it leaves quite a bump on there when it's dry. I did several rocks, and I'm gonna let those dry overnight and then spray them with the clear acrylic. This will make them look wet and shiny. And you can see the back side of the rock is the bare rock, and then it looks much darker on the front. And I also did a couple rocks where I painted the whole rock black instead of starting with a black circle. I just wanted to show you the difference of what that looks like. Now I'm going to add some of the Swarovski crystals. I had a hard time deciding which colors to use. I thought I was going to use my yellow crystals, but I didn't really like how they looked. So I switched over to orange, and I really ended up liking the orange, and I put those around the black edge. I used my tacky glue, little dot, and I put those on with my tweezers, and this dries clear so you won't see the edges of the glue at all. I also used some silver night crystals on this one to give it kind of a shiny black effect. I thought that was really cool. So they're all done. These make great gifts for somebody who's having kind of a blue day. You can give them a little bit of sunshine. Thanks for watching.